Boom.
Are we live?
We're live. Comic Books on TV, episode March 1st.
Deadpool.
We have Deadpool, yes. We have missed the last 2 weeks. Technical issues, but we're back with a fury. And today we're going to give you Deadpool. And then tomorrow or Thursday, we will go and review the last 2 weeks worth of comic book superhero shows on TV. So, Deadpool.
Spoiler for that episode, I'm out on Gotham. So
Out?
I'm out. Couldn't finish last night's episode. So we'll have to get to that tomorrow.
I haven't watched it yet.
But anyway, Deadpool. Deadpool has made all of the money. All of it.
Yes.
It's the highest grade. It's not only the highest grossing March movie or February movie of all time. It is now rapidly by the end of this week, it'll be the highest grossing R-rated movie ever in international gross. And this is a movie that has been banned in China, so like it's making that much money internationally with no, without the second biggest market.
Right.
We all knew this was going to happen because the trailer that they put out at Comic-Con was maybe the greatest trailer in the history of cinema. And this movie blew away all. It took me a week and a half to see it, but it blew away all of my expectations. Fucking Deadpool.
Deadpool was awesome. The Merc with the mouth. It's been weird how popular he's become with I don't know, when we were young reading comics and watching the cartoons and stuff, Rob Liefeld and Venom or some crap, and he was he was cool every now and then, but he didn't have his own comic very often. He didn't have any big starring roles very often. X-Force was cool and big for a while, but once Image got started and those guys left, X-Force was never anywhere near as big as the other or the two main X books. And I guess now he's got his own mini-series or his own series. He's had his Dead Kills the Marvel Universe series, and he's on all the T-shirts in the world, and chicks love him. And now he's Ryan goddamn Reynolds, and everyone loves him. And like you said, he's making all the money. And the transition from comics to TV, I mean, they really nailed it. Ryan Reynolds, his part at the beginning of the first Wolverine movie was awesome. He was great, and that little preview snippet of Deadpool, and now to have him fulfill that, like, I don't know, that little preview we had is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, his career is we can get to that in a minute, because that is the gist of what that's the main stroke of what I want to come away with it. But this I think was actually the first time that, I mean, it's been possible. Like Deadpool would, Marvel doesn't print cuss words, right, outside of a select few series,
right.
And to say like Freddy Krueger fucked the topographical map of Utah, like that sentence, it would never be printed in a Marvel. It's almost like this is the first time that the real Deadpool's like ever been shown to the world. Like he probably should have been this way the entire time, but like there was no way Marvel was ever going to print like the crap that was coming out of Ryan Reynolds' mouth in this movie.
I mean, Marvel certainly doesn't do the 17 up books like DC does, at least not as often. But you would think they probably maybe had a special, maybe that Deadpool kills Marvel Universe. He did. I'm not sure. I read a Deadpool series in the 90s by I think Joe Duffy and Ed McGuinness. I think
is that McGuinness. R.I.P. Ed McGuinness. He was always one of my favorite comic artists.
He was good.
But
you're right. In that series, I mean, it had the same attitude, but you're right. It was not like he was dropping F-bombs or cursing a lot. It was implied vulgarity and the winks and nods, but it was rarely actually like that, and that was awesome. So,
yeah, and I mean this was probably my favorite comic book movie. At first, my instinct was to just say it's always the best one since Dark Knight. That's the standard and every. But the first Avengers movie, I think, was pretty fucking flawless. And however bad taste Ultron left in people's mouths, the first one is almost perfect. You said Winter Soldier. I would argue those all day. But I mean, Deadpool is certainly the most like I mean, I can't wait to rewatch this on cable like 1,000 times, and I haven't rewatched any of the other movies to that level, other than Dark. I mean, Dark Knight I've watched a million times. Maybe X-Men First Class has that rewatchability factor.
Yeah. X-Men First Class is one of the best.
And it's a complete story, but it's for me. I can't wait to see this movie again and again and again.
For me, I prefer Avengers. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it when it came out, and it's not that they did anything wrong. It's an incredibly well put together movie, but I think it's dropped now for me behind Cap 2 and maybe even Guardians of the Galaxy. But that's probably just I haven't watched it anywhere near as many times. I mean, to be fair, I've watched Avengers. I mean, it's on FX, I think, every day right now. So not right now, just in general. I've watched parts of it here and there tons of times. Saw it twice in theaters. It was a great movie. It still holds up great. Its watchability is super high. But the seriousness of Captain America 2, the whole all president's men vibe, I think it's probably the closest thing to Dark Knight that Marvel's done, and that's my favorite. But I still love Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy was awesome too. Those two are kind of toss up for me. And I think Deadpool slides in nicely there. That's not quite as good as my top two or so, but it's better than most of the rest. Iron Man's in that same conversation, I think.
Yeah, the first Iron Man is really good. But I mean, this from the famed 12 bullet scene, where he's got 12 bullets and he has to kill however many people.
Yeah,
that was just. I mean, I'm not sure if that was Ryan. I mean that was probably the finest moment of the film. I mean, as like technically wise when they shoot the bullet, but my favorite part of the movie was the soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack was. This and Guardians of the Galaxy, the two best comic movie soundtracks ever. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought it was amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and riff on my one problem with the movie, just because I don't want this to be the last thing we talk about. That maybe gives someone the impression that I don't have almost 100% good feeling about the movie. So my only issue with it was Colossus. I thought. In the context of watching the movie, I thought Colossus was great. I thought he was funny, he was cool, and him crunched up the back of the car, drinking the tea or coffee, or whatever it was hilarious. Him being Colossus was cool. But this version of Colossus, I don't see how it could play in the X-Men universe. I don't see how we would believe or care if this version of Colossus started dating Kitty Pryde, like in the comics, or this version of Colossus is just a caricature a bit of like a old, like a 40-year-old Russian from the Cold War who had defected, like an older version, kind of what Colossus was probably originally intended as, but not as realistic. And not to say that the other X-Men movies have given him anything to do, but were you so inclined to give Colossus, a cool story with Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde or something? If this was him, I feel like that would not work in a more straight movie.
Well, I mean, the Colossus is, yes, you're right, and they're obviously never intended to do any of that, so they're like, sure, have him do whatever you will. That being said,
right.
Like, if they ever want to ground the X-Men, because even in this movie, we can get to the references in a second. But when he's like, who can keep your timeline straight? Is it like, who's that? When he's joking about like how insane the X-Men franchise has become. If they ever want to ground it, do the legacy virus.
Yeah.
And then,
yes.
And then,
but you'd have to care about Colossus.
That was my point. Colossus
you'd have to have some pathos.
Is sacrificing himself to cure the legacy virus after you find out what happened to his, like all the stuff that if what happened to Pietro. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
Is he? Pietro's is Quicksilver.
Yeah, but Peter, I think the Russian version is like Pietro Rasputin. I think it's Peter Rasputin in America, but I believe they decided that his Russian actual name is Piotr. Or no, it's Piotr. It's Piotr.
I just had to do a second. I was like, no, that's Quicksilver. Yeah. But no, like. His that's if they ever wanted to ground it and just do like a non-time travel-y, world-ending X-Men movie, that would be the plot line I think you would go with. And you're right, you would need a Colossus that had you could empathize with and could carry half of a movie. But they're obviously never going to do that. They have no intention of doing that. And the fact that we had Deadpool calling someone a giant metal cock gobbler, I think was worth it.
No, I loved him in the movie. You're right. It was worth it. What they did worked really well. And here's the only reason that you could be wrong. They might do it is because the next movie is the person that starts the legacy virus in the comics was named Strife. And Strife is like a clone of Cable, and Cable is going to be the next Deadpool movie, right?
For that, well, yeah. If you stayed for the stinger at the end, yes. But also, I mean, you were talking about before. What is Deadpool's pre becoming the internet's favorite character like 5 years ago? And on every nerd T-shirt at Comic-Con, his claim to fame was like one really cool series, like in the early 2000s when Marvel was going bankrupt, where he was paired with Cable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that's Rob Liefeld. The one thing about Deadpool making all this money is it just like we have to put more money in Rob Liefeld's fucking pockets. The worst comic book artist. Who was the guy that you hated that drew Batman with the giant ears?
Kelly Jones.
Right. No, Liefeld's worse than him.
Liefeld, it's crazy. He was bunched up in that group with Jim Lee and J. Scott Campbell and all these guys that were, revolutionary and a Start Image, Eric Larson, and his work is detailed and like you would say he's probably a better artist than like Eric Larson and most of those guys other than like Jim Lee, but it was never like attractive to look at it. And the characters all have the same stupid looking like legs that get all tiny at the end, giant shoulders, shoulder pads usually, and their mouth always look like this.
And pouches.
And what?
Pouches.
And tons of pouches everywhere. Like everyone's made of utility belts, and their faces always look like this. Always with that mouth that looks like a fucking asshole. Always. Every character's mouth is always in that he's about to talk or suck a small dick position. Pardon my vulgarity, but this is Deadpool, so no offense, Rob Liefeld. He got a lot of fans, but I was never one of them. So I agree with you. However, he didn't bother me as much as Kelly Jones because I also didn't give a fuck about any of Rob Liefeld's characters, and so he wasn't breaking my heart like Kelly Jones was with Batman's ridiculous. I think in retrospect as an adult, I think that Batman was just supposed to be drawn. Every episode was drawn by the artist version of Hunter S. Thompson, where it's all an impressionistic version. But at least I was younger, and most of the time, I looked for a much more realistic form of comic books. Why manga and animes never were my thing. Really, is Jimmy, Jim Aparo, Neil Adams. That I like that kind of art, and yeah, that's all.
Well, anyway, so Deadpool, the breakout star of the movie. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, of course, saved his career, but another person that I've been like, she's a star. Give her the right role. Morena Baccarin, fucking killing it.
Yeah. Way more seen than on Gotham. I haven't watched last night's yet, but just in general, Gotham does not give her much to work with or much interesting to say or do. No.
Last night's her two scenes consisted of, Gordon, I'm concerned about your safety, and Jim, I'm concerned. That was her. But this, she was just, oh man, I loved her.
She was great in Deadpool.
And the villain, I don't know that fucking actor's name. Dario Naharis 1. Was always I've always liked that guy better as Dario than the second Dario, if that makes sense. At
least no, you're right. His look and his way of speaking, I think I prefer. He was only there for one episode, 2 episodes.
No, he was in it for a whole season.
Was it that whole season? Okay.
Yeah.
It feels like this new guy has been there longer. I guess maybe just in it more.
But no, because in the books, Dario's a douchebag, and
Yeah.
Like paints his hair blue and is like totally like peacocking all around Daenerys all the time.
Yeah, a real sleazoid.
And in the Dario part 2 is like, I'm, random white guy with a beard who, there's a million anyway.
Yeah.
I'm totally rambling. Back to Deadpool. It's obvious that they had like Colossus was the one famous character they were allowed to work with, because otherwise we got Angel Dust, Ajax, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, which I think that chick was cool and that was a fun character. But it was obviously that they wanted to write that as Cannonball, right?
Yeah, I read that that's not even her powers in the comic books. That they were like they picked her for the name. They because of the name, they'd already basically imagined her doing Cannonball like things. And then found out that wasn't what her power set was. And apparently they had to ask Marvel's permission to change her powers. I guess Marvel Comics, not Marvel Studios. I don't know. That's what I read somewhere. But
that makes sense. Well,
she was cool.
Yeah, it was obvious that they were aiming for bigger fish at that point. But they didn't need them. It's almost better that it didn't really have any characters other than Colossus that really anybody would have had any familiarity with. I mean, the movie was let's get into the references now. I mean, I think my favorite one was the "Don't make the suit green or animated."
Yeah, that was good.
But there's also
someone said "sew his mouth shut."
Yes. They even show the figure, the Deadpool action figure. But my favorite line in the movie or reference in the movie was, and someone asks him to do something, and he just responds like he in his pattern of speech. He goes, "Definitely, maybe," and then keeps talking. But that's clearly a reference to Ryan Reynolds' like totally underappreciated work. Definitely, maybe, right? So they not only referenced Green Lantern, like they were referencing all of Ryan Reynolds' career arc.
If that's what they were doing, it seems now that you mention it, you think him reading that out loud, it must have been on purpose. But it also made such perfect sense for the character to talk like that. Kind of thought, no, yeah, I don't know, something. And yeah, it was good.
And there was a Blade 3 reference or a Blade 2 reference, whichever one. Like,
Blade 2.
He was in that, right?
He was in 3.
But they referenced Blade. It's his entire career like has been building to like, he started off as like the wisecracking, like he started off as Bluto from Animal House, only he looks like Ryan Reynolds. So that was never like he was never going to be like the fat comedian. I mean, he even went so far as to play the fat funny guy in a movie, which I wish I could remember what it was called. So if you,
I can't remember
the afro and glasses and horrible fat suit and teeth, singing into a mirror.
It was an Amy Smart who he was trying to get.
Just
Amy
Friends.
Smart and Just Friends, and Chris
Just
Klein,
Friends.
or whatever, was the ambulance dude tech.
Yes, he's been a comedian his whole career, and you referenced the brief moments of pre-mouth being shown shut Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Right.
And it's almost like he had Deadpool set up, but like DC offered him too much money to turn down for that shitty Green Lantern movie.
Which is all the more weird when you think about how awesome now everyone that we know about that was mostly involved in making that Green Lantern movie is awesome everywhere else. But Berlanti, he apparently wrote that, right? And Ryan Reynolds obviously is a star. He was never and a good and fun and can do this. And he was never our choice for Green Lantern. But I don't think that it was necessarily him that ruined the movie. It's just obviously whatever happened besides writing and picking the star and that kind of thing was just all bad. And Sinestro is Mark Strong, who is cool in almost everything he does. Bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Wasn't Mark Strong? He was in the Kingsman, right?
No.
No?
Yeah, no. He was in Kick-Ass, right? And he
Kick-Ass. No,
he was the bad guy in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm thinking of. Then I don't know who I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm thinking of Stanley Tucci. But no, that Green, and to see the but I never even after Green Lantern was clearly the last of the not trying comic book movies.
Right.
Even after that, I never sold my Green Lantern or my Ryan Reynolds stock. I was always like, man, give him something. Specifically for movies like Definitely Maybe, which is a great movie. It's him and Isla Fisher before she like quit acting, and then the little girl before she quit acting too, Abigail Breslin. And that movie is it's a great movie. It's like set he's like a campaign speechwriter for Clinton in the 90s.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was good.
Isn't that? It's
who was the love interest?
Isla Fisher.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's good call. I hadn't thought about that movie in a while.
Yeah, and that's before she retired, like right after that, to go have Sacha Baron Cohen's babies. But that was a great movie. And he had a couple other like Adventureland.
Adventureland was great.
Adventureland,
awesome.
That's his performance in Adventureland is I mean that's one of my all-time favorite movies, and a lot of because of how good he is. When he's like trying to, at the very end, trying to like impress this new set of girls, and he's singing the Lou Reed song wrong, and then Jesse Eisenberg's character goes over and like corrects him. It's this, it's not that. I love that movie, and yeah, he went through a phase where he was doing small parts like that, and then was he in that movie? Was he in Men in Black for Dead People with
Yeah, that was awful. I
watched that. The worst movie I've ever seen.
It was so bad, and Jeff Bridges was so bad in it. It was like he was trying to kill the movie. Every time he read a line, I was like, you need to leave. This movie has to go now. It was so offensively bad. I tell you what, people don't always like it. I thought that Ryan Reynolds was good in Blade 3, and I enjoyed Blade 3. I thought people dog it for some reason. I liked the guy that played Dracula from Prison Break. I think Wesley Snipes was awesome as Blade, and Blade 3 was pretty fucking cool.
Wait.
He was in, there's something to say. He was on with Denzel recently. Yeah, the Prison Break, the Heat Wave was the Dracula in Blade 3.
Really? I got really excited that was I forgot. I thought you were telling me that Wentworth Miller played Dracula. I was about to put Blade 3 on right now.
No, that would have been even cooler. But Heat Wave was still pretty cool. He was a little bit more subdued and a little. I don't know. He's always so over the top, and as we'll talk about soon, some cool ways, although not as good as Wentworth Miller in Legends of Tomorrow. It's funny, and in Prison Break and in Blade 3 both, I thought he was a fine actor also.
Yeah. So yeah, I came real close to selling the Reynolds stock after, what was it, R.I.P.D.
Yeah. So bad.
But even then, I had heard that Deadpool was coming, and I was like, I know that I've seen him like impersonate that character before. He'd be so perfect as it. And even Van Wilder is not that's actually a pretty funny movie.
Yeah, I like Van Wilder. Van Wilder's good. I mean, it's not super original, but it's a much better done version of those movies than most of the others.
It gets shit on because The Rise of Taj is just a complete and utter joke.
Yeah.
And so and then there was even a third and a fourth at that point.
Yeah, I know there's a freshman year.
Yeah. Like a prequel.
Yeah, a prequel to Van Wilder. It's fucking Star Wars.
But no, yeah, I guess he's probably loves Green Lantern because he met his wife on Green Lantern. But
I'm sure when he got the script, he was like, man, this guy Berlanti wrote a strong script. He agrees to make the movie. Obviously the costume and so much shit was done CG. Probably has no idea how it's going to turn out. And comes back later, the script's already been different, truncated probably in some ways. the villain ends up being some weird, crazy, mist monster that doesn't really. I know. And the bad guy by what's his name? Who turned into the Thinker? Maybe the giant brain. Hector Hammond. Yeah. He whoever played him, he was terrible. He wasn't terrible acting wise, but it was really unappealing, not at all charismatic, gross looking. Like it wasn't in a movie that was playing itself straight most of the time. He wasn't a visually cool villain. It was just bad. So many bad choices.
Well, whereas this movie, so many good choices. The scene where his hand is growing back and he's got this little baby hand, that is the visual on that is just utterly spectacular. And
it was great.
Supposedly they cut like one big action scene and 2 or 3 big CGI characters at the last second.
I guess the girl was supposed to apparently twins or something, or 2 characters. The villain girl, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't. She's Gina Carano.
Yeah, Gina Carano. I can't remember her character's name. Anyway, you were talking. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, I almost think that was a good thing. Like the smaller move, it's better that it was smaller.
It was very small in scale. I mean, the big fight scene is him and versus maybe 10, 12 guys. The second time, the end fight before he fights Ajax, it was not a big scale. It wasn't like there was armies. It wasn't like it had the big scope. It was a very personal story. But I think you're right. I think it made it very good. It was a tight story. It was kind of like Dark Knight in the way that for so much of Dark Knight up until the end with the boats, it was all so much smaller scale. 1 or 2 people being terrorized. They're smaller fights. It was kind of not film noir, but it was much more on that scale than the world is always going to be in danger in every other superhero movie.
And I don't know if the only other place I feel like they could have had a few more like characters recognizable would have been at the bar that they were at. Like ideally, if this was a Marvel movie, like Frank Castle would have been in that bar.
Yeah.
Right. Like, or, like where even someone like, even Natasha Romanoff would, or someone like that in her off time. But then again, it's not a Marvel movie, but I still think they won this weekend or however many weeks ago it came out, because the people I saw with, they saw the Marvel scroll at the beginning, so they just assumed it's a Marvel movie. They don't know the whole the world isn't aware of the division of the properties.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's kind of in tune to the constant, bickering and news and really aware of what's going on with Sony and Fox and Marvel. You're right. It could be confusing. It can make you wonder why these things aren't there. And there's people they could have used. They could have had Domino or Longshot or other X characters that haven't yet been on film. Yes,
I feel like they're gonna do. This has to be that's where this conversation will go as the end is, this is an R-rated movie, the first R-rated comic movie since The Watchmen, maybe 300 Part 2.
Well, yeah, definitely that, but that doesn't really count so much. That's more just a sequel to the first movie. What was I going to say? Crap. Was the second Punisher movie before or after 300?
Probably before. Wait, no, the second one would have been after. No, that would have been after. Yeah.
Sorry, I meant before or after The Watchmen. I'm sorry.
Oh, I still think it would have been after. Though, yeah,
so
maybe I don't know.
That would have been the last one. I think that would have been the last one that I think.
And that was a dud, both financially and critically. Whereas this is, going to be by the end of this will be on a lot of people's best of movies lists by the end of the year.
You think it'll be next year's Mad Max and take home like Oscars like Mad Max did last night?
No, I do not. Though speaking of the Oscars, I do hope now that Leo's won his award, maybe he'll be down for like a Marvel movie or something. Like, right?
DC needs to make a move and get a big name. DC should find a way to use Leo just every now and then. You don't need to make him a franchise guy like You've already got Ben Affleck to be your Robert Downey Jr. You've already got Wonder Woman, who, from everything I've heard recently, is stealing the show. You're not going to replace Henry Cavill, so even if he's not perfect, you got what you got. But there's somewhere you can put Leo.
Did you see Henry Cavill at the Academy? Like, I have never seen him more. The Academy Award.
Like this.
He's literally a fucking cardboard cutout. Like, he's the most just to hear. And what's weird is he was actually pretty good in the Man from Uncle. Yeah,
he was good in that. He was always decent on the Tudors from the season or two that I watched it.
But yeah, last night. So the rumor is, and it's going to piss a lot of people off, including me, is that DC's going to double down on the having two, like, a separate comic character from the TV show and a movie, and that they're in negotiations with Damon to play Ollie.
With who?
With Damon to play Ollie and do a Batman Green Arrow like
Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
That would be the coolest thing.
No, just fucking put Stephen Amell in the movie.
Well, yeah, they're not going to do that. They've already established that they're not the same universe.
Stephen Amell was so good on as like older Ollie.
Yeah,
I want to.
He was. Tomorrow we get into Legends of Tomorrow, and things from last week. Man, the Connor Hawk was done so well, and at first I'm like, "What do you mean it's not Ollie's son?" But the way they go with it, you know what? Fine, it's perfect. It's okay. Because before, when he wasn't he was like part Asian, part white, and part black. I don't know where, no one knew where the black came from, really.
Nah, he was whatever color the artist wanted to draw him as.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. But anyway, I thought it was so cool.
It got my head spinning. So the flashback this season has been pretty shitty on Arrow. And
usually
next year will be the final. Will be like the 5th season, so it'll be the 5th year of his. Like, we'll be done with the flashbacks.
It's 5 year. Yeah.
The show Arrow isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It's still really popular. So for season 6 and 7, no flashbacks. Flash forward, have him be future Ollie with Connor Hawk in this timeline.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be
that
fucking
would be super cool? Yeah, that would be great.
Anyway,
that would be awesome. Yeah, because you're right. They are going to have to do it. They can either do flashbacks to other characters, the villains, or a flash forward. I want to see more of that Ollie, and I want to see more Connor Hawk. That was cool. Connor Hawk was never like Kyle Rayner. Connor Hawk was never my God, what are you doing here? Why? This was so, like, it was sad when Ollie died, but at least it all happened with kind of honor to it. And he got to train Connor for a while and knew he was his dad, and they built a relationship. Don't get me wrong, the turning of Hal Jordan from Green Lantern to Parallax and Emerald Knight Saga and all that was some awesome books. But the fact that they decide, hey, all the things that make Green Lantern what it is about, courage and honor and this, screw it. Just throw the ring to the first guy you come across in the alley who happens to be this artist, this drunk artist, Kyle Rayner. And then he was just kind of a douche. Sorry to rip on Kyle Rayner, but
no,
yeah, I always liked Connor Hawk.
Actually, I want to tie that back to. So I think Ryan Reynolds is obviously more comfortable as either like super somber character actor, like disappearing into a minor role, like Adventureland, or like Definitely Maybe, or he's better as like the wisecracking, like Brother Bluto type, the comedian. Here's a question: would young Ryan Reynolds would that movie have been better if they had gone full wisecrack and let him play Kyle Rayner as opposed to playing Hal Jordan?
Yeah, because Hal Jordan's not supposed to be wisecracking. Like, not that he has no sense of humor, but he was a military guy, and he thinks he wasn't just a screw up in the kind of ways they were making him seem in the movie. Like, he had issues, like, and sometimes he's written where he didn't use a gun, and he has issues there, or maybe he had some other, I don't know, maybe some issues. Never that he was kind of a douche and stuff, screw up, and it would have made a lot more sense was Kyle Rayner. And Yeah, you're right. That's good. That's a good thought there.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, I haven't thought about Kyle Rayner in 5 years, but he's most famous for being annoying as shit and giving birth to the term getting fridged for a female character. I mean, that's his comic book legacy. I mean, I think it would have made Ryan Reynolds would have been better suited for that than he was for Hal Jordan. I mean, Hal Jordan has always been the.
But still, that version of Hal Jordan could have been okay if the movie wasn't so poorly put together.
No,
that's not on him.
Chris Evans,
not most of it.
Maybe would have made a good Hal.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think of from that time. Like, there's not even today. Oh, Chris Pine. That's who I always wanted to play Hal Jordan. Right. That's right.
Right. When you said Chris Evans, Chris Pine went in my head. That's who I wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously Nathan Fillion, 11, 12 years ago, but 5 years ago, Chris Pine.
Yeah. Even now, I mean, I think he supposedly turned down Green Lantern to play Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman. So,
which is kind of cool. It's weird. It's surprising. It must be a good role. I
was like, that script must be fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I've heard that Gal Gadot absolutely steals like half her scenes that she's in Batman vs Superman.
She stole the she stole the Star Wars premiere, like in the trailer.
Yeah.
So while we're wrapping up Deadpool, who's your Cable?
Cox. Oh, the actor. Ha ha! I thought you meant who's the cable company.
You said Cox.
Sorry. My bad. Who should play Cable?
You said Cox.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. That's on me. God. People keep saying Liam Neeson, and he has the right kind of everything except I really don't love his American accent. When he plays somewhat exotic characters, I love Liam Neeson. But when he tries to do an American accent, it just sometimes has this weird hitch at the end where you're like, that's not how Liam talks. And Cable, I feel like, should be a little gruff, and I don't feel like he should be exotic or weird. So he's not my first choice. So he's a great actor, and he'd probably be great. I don't know. Who do you have in mind? I haven't really thought about a whole lot.
All of these roles required because Cable, I get, depending on what age you're going to go with them, I would offer all of these roles to Tom Cruise.
No, you can't have Cable be 5'7" or whatever he is. Cable should be like 6'2", 6'3", big.
Yeah, but all right.
But why Tom Cruise? Just
we were talking about Green Lantern. And if you remember, I wanted Tom Cruise to reprise his Top Gun character, but play it as Sinestro,
right,
pre-going evil, the cocky, because they're the Green Lantern Corps. I thought that would have been a great vibe. At some point he's got to just what was that movie that I love so much? What the title is not Live, Die, Repeat, but the actual.
Tomorrow, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, love that movie. I don't know, and imagine him I don't know. He's so good as the last time we saw Tom Cruise in a comedy was Les Grossman, which is one of the most funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So if you could somehow combine Les Grossman, Tom Cruise with Top Gun Tom Cruise or not Legend of Tomorrow, Edge of Tomorrow Tom Cruise, I think that would be fucking rad.
All right, you know who somebody needs to make a play for is Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, he would make a fucking awesome Cable. Yes, it's almost
the past year and a half for him between Dallas Buyers Club and True Detective and Mud and something else he was in. He hasn't done anything in the last 6 months, I don't think, besides car commercials. But he's been great. He's had a renaissance similar to Ben Affleck's, although I don't know, similar.
Would you call it a reconnaissance?
I will call it reconnaissance. Yes, he has had a reconnaissance. I thought you were going to ask if I would call it Affleckian because I had made that comparison, but no, I like reconnaissance. I can't say it anymore. Matthew reconnaissance. Yes, I'm in.
No, yeah, I think anybody that's like I would say go look at the biggest actors of like 1999, and then cast Cable from there. So like, would Bruce Willis be down to do it?
That would be a great choice. Or you know who else would be great as Cable would be Samuel L. Jackson.
Well,
no, I was kidding. I mean, but I think he would be. Or Stringer Bell would be awesome as Cable. But see, he can't do that either.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you were gonna go, if he doesn't, I mean, I was just thinking like someone huge. Will Smith would have made a cool Cable if he didn't take Deadshot. But like, so you want someone like that was a giant star, 15 years ago.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, well, I think he's really actually old now.
He is, but you mean like senile old?
No, I mean like Cable needs to still look like ripped as shit.
Yeah, that's true. He does. See, everybody keeps talking about casting Liam Neeson and old people because he has white hair. But I always thought of Cable more as being just like, hey, I'm like 35, 40 with white hair.
Right.
Shit, I had a tough life, and so
Tom Hardy.
I was thinking more old. Oh wow, yeah, Tom Hardy would be perfect.
Yes.
Not at all what you were talking about, but would be perfect. I heard he's working with DC on another movie.
I heard he is too. Well, I mean, Leo won last night or Sunday night for The Revenant, but Tom Hardy was the best performance in that movie.
I thought they were both awesome, and Tom Hardy, like at least when it came to dialogue, did a lot more acting. Like Leo, when it came to going through hell, like he acted the shit out of going through hell. I'll give him his credit, but like acting out what you're handling on paper as far as dialogue and telling us that kind of traditional story, Tom Hardy carried a lot of the movie. He was great.
Yeah, I mean,
he was great.
I hear that they're going to go with that it'll be Cable and Domino will be heavily featured in Deadpool. Well, they obviously Cable, but they're going to Domino is where they're leaning for the female lead in that movie.
That's cool.
And Marina Baccarin can't like become
Domino.
But they should get they should go into the Firefly well and do whatever her name is. She was the Ravager on Arrow, and she was the psychic chick on Firefly.
She was River.
Yeah, whatever that girl's name is, that should be
Terminator.
That should be your Domino.
I'd be cool with that.
She was on Terminator. Yeah, that's right.
I love that show. I'm trying to get Crystal to watch it. We have just lots of shows to watch.
Brian Austin Green they would gonna go with a much bigger actor, but he would be a cool Cable.
No, he couldn't get the respect for that. He might do a decent job, but no one's not just name. No one's gonna respect him enough. Like the dude that banged Megan Fox for a while, or still I don't know. Still, I have no idea. For a while at least, yeah, that guy. Now 2-0. Yep. Okay. Who would be a good Cable? I mean, the biggest stars. If you're thinking, I mean, I think Bruce Willis, because John Travolta could be a choice, but he's way too. When he's good, he's kind of snide or slick, and really, he's just aged into something kind of weird. I think Bruce Willis would be a good choice.
You need someone to play he's got to be the straight man to Deadpool's. I mean, you can't cast another wisecracker as Cable. It's got to be someone who can be like, shut the fuck up, Wade.
Yeah.
So his name is Deadpool, and he was created by Liefeld, right? And his name is Wade Wilson. And so who came first? Deathstroke as Slade Wilson?
Yeah, Deathstroke was Slade Wilson. Because remember, Deathstroke was in the Judas Covenant in 1984. Covenant contract?
Was he a Liefeld creation?
No. Deadshot was Liefeld. I don't know that he ever worked for DC.
Okay, well, I just want to know, so he just straight up ripped them off for Deadpool?
Yeah. I mean, so much that he named him Wade Wilson. like the Deathstroke, Deadpool, two swords and the mask and everything, pretty close, but not the exact same. But then the Slade Wilson thing, that's just a middle finger.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
What?
Yeah,
I was going to ask you what you thought of last week's Deathstroke, the Sun. But let's talk about it tomorrow.
He was annoying as shit. He was by far the worst part of that episode.
Yeah, he was annoying. Do you know if he's based on a real character?
No, Deadpool or Deathstroke's like if his daughter is like his
Ravager,
yeah, his prodigy that becomes like a version of him is Ravager, who's his daughter.
That's what I thought, but I thought maybe there's a chance I missed something. So, let's check in.
As we're wrapping up Deadpool, you mentioned the Judas contract, and DC's struggling with Teen Titans. We know how that the pilot failed. But Young Justice is coming back.
I know. I heard they're going to do it. Well, they're talking about at least with a season 3. Have you watched all of season 2?
Yeah, I didn't. The time jump was fucking fantastic.
I still want to see. I want to see Dick Grayson in a movie or a series. And if they're willing to do multiple versions of Flash and Green Arrow, and I don't know why. Even if you're to use him, obviously in the Batman movie, perhaps or something like that. I don't know. I want to get some Dick in my life.
Well, they've already said that there is a. Like Dick Grayson existed in the current, in the Snyderverse.
Yeah, but that's what I've heard.
But he's already moved on, and that Batman has been Batman for 20 years, and is already on it. They said I've read things from 3rd to 4th Robin. In
Carrie Kelly.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've heard her references, or it's Tim Drake. Pretty much everybody has already kind of acknowledged that they'll have been moving past. There'll be one graduated Robin and one dead Robin.
I agree, and that means there's a good chance we'll see Nightwing in the Batman movie if it's a Red Hood movie or something like that. I've also heard they're talking about turning the Cyborg movie into a Titans movie and having the TV show squad. Because even though when it was on when we were younger, we were a little judgmental because it's the whole anime style, and now that new show is just it's a crack show for kids that's like Adventureland on superheroes.
It's garbage.
So weird. It's not garbage. It's just so weird.
Teen Titans
really. Yeah, I've watched a couple times. I'll tell you what. There's times I've watched it, and it's strange. It's still I don't know. I know adults, or at least young adults, that thought SpongeBob, and I like Ren and Stimpy, and it's kind of like a kid show like those where people sometimes think it's more. I don't know. It's good. I don't know. I've heard her have the Raven, Cyborg, Beast Boy, Starfire squad, Nightwing.
Yeah, Roy always gets the shaft on that.
And but who even gets the worst shaft is Donna Troy, because at least Roy's on TV. I don't even know, is Donna Troy even still in the comics?
I don't think so. No, Wonder Woman's a young woman now again.
I don't know. I like Donna Troy. I was reading something recently, and it was from I was reading the old Teen Titans from the Marv Wolfman George Perez one. I had the first 7 issues or some shit. I don't have the Judas contract of the first Trigon story or the big Trigon story, and Donna Troy's in it. I'm like, oh, that's right. She was awesome. That's
yeah. Well, I mean, eventually, yeah. Wonder Woman is her, because it's her origin's as complicated as Wonder Woman's is, which is just retarded sometimes.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Wonder Woman is, and it sounds like she's going to be. The script is solid and good, so I'm curious as how they're going to do the origin. I mean, I guess with the acceptability of Thor and Game of Thrones and 300, all those kinds of movies, it shouldn't be impossible to pull off. But it's one that I've always thought was going to be kind of hard.
Yeah, well, but also they can do what they want. It's not like we're married to if they changed, Martha Wayne not dying in Crime Alley, the entire world would pitch a big ass fit, right?
Yeah.
Which is part of the blessings that Arrow had, right? Green Arrow's origin is changed. Originally, he was a fucking professor who was studying Native American tribal arts, and then he became a clone of Bat. Like, you know, that was a blessing that Arrow had, which, you know, they to make him separate from Batman in the first season. Like, well, we got to keep his mom alive. We got to give him a sister. You know, we got to give him a family, right? That's what makes him not Batman. Whereas the Flash, I guess they seem pretty married to that. Got to save his mom from dying, time travel. I mean, that's the plot they're going with for the movie, they've said, which was the plot of season 1. You would think they wouldn't do just the plot of season 1. People are going to hate that.
No, you're right. I don't know. People are definitely going to hate it going into. They're definitely going to be very weary. It's supposed to come out. Everything for this comes out after Justice League in theory, right? So
yeah.
they'll have a chance to sell Ezra Miller as the Flash before they make a Flash movie. I don't know why, if this takes place after Batman's been a hero for 30 years or whatever, I don't know why you would just have Ezra Miller play Wally West and just have it. Sorry.
No, yeah, just don't make, or have him play Barry, but not like fighting Professor Zoom, who's went back in time to kill. Like, don't do the exact same goddamn plot as the.
I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they won't do the exact plot. I mean, they're definitely that after Flash. I think Flashpoint was when that got solidified into his origin,
right?
And so it's not that old. They don't have to do the reverse Flash part, and they would be crazy. I don't know. You know, I'm not making the movie, but I think they'd be crazy to try and we're gonna do our own version of season 1, and you know we'll just tell all the important nuggets in the 2 hours. We don't need all these side characters and side stories. That would be pretty boring.
So, all right, trying to bring us back to Deadpool.
Deadpool,
R-rated hit. People have been talking that is DC going to make Suicide Squad R-rated because of this, and my reaction to that was, Suicide Squad is not R-rated? What the fuck?
I thought there isn't a rating for Suicide Squad yet, is there?
No, but
I would assume it would be R-rated.
Like,
yeah,
that have been R-rated. Like, that concept is R-rated.
Yeah.
Like, just go look at Margot Robbie. She's not PG-13.
Yeah, no, I assumed it was R-rated as well. I don't know. That would be weird. Because Batman and Superman, did you read they're going to release an R-rated cut on Blu-ray of Batman v Superman?
No.
Zack Snyder said that. He said similar to his director's cut of Watchmen, he's put together a R-rated director's cut of Batman vs Superman.
In my head, that's cool, but other than Lord of the Rings, pretty much anytime you hear about a director having to leave stuff out, the product released to the world is not that strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that he thought was usually one of the versions isn't that strong. Usually, if there's enough for a director's cut, either the director's cut sucks and whoever that was saved the movie, or the original movie, like Daredevil, the original movie isn't as good, and the director's cut was significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly there's a whole bunch of Avengers that got left out, and obviously that turned out okay. And we know they cut out Deadpool. They didn't film the stuff, but we know they had to cut stuff out. So maybe it's not an ominous sign. But well,
hey, did you ever see the
director's cut of Watchmen? Is garbage. So.
Most of the added stuff is, but there's that one scene when they're beating the old Night Owl to death, and he's having all these flashbacks when he was younger and fighting the guy in the black mask and whatever his name was, not Mephisto. I can't remember his name. But I thought that no, it was the flashback scene for the old guy who's dying.
Oh.
But I thought there were a couple parts that were really good. As a whole, it made it really long and unbearable.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was a whole lot of blue penis to begin with. I didn't need more blue penis.
It was a lot of penis.
Well, anyway, all right. So Deadpool, 10 out of 10. The world loves it. Fans love it. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, hopefully this frees him. I don't know. I mean, he seems to just do whatever the fuck he wants anyway. So, maybe this just hopefully this commits him to the character for at least like you know, if Old Man Logan is the last time we're gonna see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, maybe Ryan Reynolds can be like he'll be playing this character like Hugh Jackman did in every X movie for now and 10 years from now.
I think it's a lot to expect him to become Hugh Jackman for the X-Men movies, but I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he could definitely be at least close to that, you know, in the Robert Downey Jr. role. Maybe he's not in literally every movie like Hugh Jackman is, but that he's in a lot of them and helps carry. I think similar to how they're probably going to use Ben Affleck as Batman, and unlike Ben Affleck as Batman, he's not yet to, you know, make the role his. There's nobody else playing Deadpool as long as Ryan Reynolds wants that job. That's him.
Yeah, you know, there must be something about it. Must be really stressful to film a Batman movie, both as a director and an actor and like people playing the villains, because every other comic book franchise, the people just abjectly refuse, unless it's like a disaster, like the Fantastic Four movies or something like that. These people never want to leave the roles. Like they will like hold on to these roles, whether it's being how much money they're being paid or just how much fun it is to play them. Like, you know, Halle Berry was pissed that they finally cast another Storm for Age of Apocalypse. She was like, I'm still hot. Like I want to play Storm. I want to say stupid shit like that. It's just, you know, and whether it's Robert Downey Jr., who how many times have we heard he's done, and then 5 more movies. Chris Hemsworth, everyone thought he was going to be out after the first, and he's like, nah, I'm down for the long haul when it comes to that. Everybody just the guy who played General Ross was like, I get to come back.
You know, that's true.
But the Batman people, like, it just must be really fucking stressful because nobody has stayed for more than 3 movies, and even that, someone basically like committed suicide because the process was so stressful.
Yeah, I mean, the making of especially the Dark Knight series, I think was obviously arduous and stressful. I think being in a Batman costume, it's not like Iron Man where you can just sit in a green screen room for most of your time, and it obviously looks a lot heavier and more hot than Captain America's uniform. That also being said, with other than Val Kilmer and Clooney, who weren't, you know, Kilmer wasn't panned at the time, although people now pan Batman Forever. And, you know, looking back and then comparing it to the new Batman movies, very, very, you know, silly at many times. But it was, at the time, it wasn't reviled. But Michael Keaton and Christian Bale are both very serious actors. Even though Keaton wasn't, you know, necessarily known for serious roles back when he was Batman. You know, he was known as Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice and stuff like that. If you listen to interviews with him before, or since then, and even closer around then, or, you know, say last year after Birdman, he seems like a very like artisty actor to the point of being a little bit pretentious.
Yeah, and so maybe it's just the people they put in them or the circumstances. I don't know. It's just like I feel like, you know, that everybody in the X-Men movies, it took, I mean, it's really like Ian McKellen didn't have anything better to do for like the last 10 years. Nope. Like all he wants to do is just play Gandalf or Magneto. Like the entire last 20 years of his career. He's like, nah, I just want to play Magneto or Gandalf. And you know, you know, the only person who seems to really want out of it is Jennifer Lawrence, but I think that's mainly because she wants nothing to do with blue paint anymore.
I bet it's also because, you know, it's similar to Christian Bale and Michael Keaton. I think she's even more of an actor. Most of the Marvel guys, other than Robert Downey Jr., you know, weren't thespian actors. You know, they weren't like going to be nominated for Oscars at any point in their lives, probably. Right. I mean, they exactly. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is an incredible actor, and he had all the emotional and drug trauma and things like that to be the perfect Tony Stark. But other than that, the Marvel guys are all, no one else is competing for Oscars. Whereas you've got Christian Bale, you have Michael Keaton, who are both Oscar winners. Isn't Christian Bale Oscar winner? Did he win for The Boxer?
Yep.
So they're both Oscar winners. Wait, Michael Keaton, did he get Best Actor, or he just Was the star?
No,
of
he
Best
lost
Picture.
last year to Stephen Hawking.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so he's respected on about that level, and he's been competing for him. So I think I think Jennifer Lawrence obviously is the most decorated actress of the past decade. I think she figures that she's got, and she has the Hunger Games that made her all the money in the world as well. So I don't think she. I mean, the one thing about her is that she's in X-Men movies once every 3 years. That is one that you think she could do a little easy. Tony, or what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. has to be Iron Man every other day. It seems like.
Well, Fassbender is supposedly in Old Man Logan and going to be in the next 2X. Like he's seems just as serious as an actor person. Like,
you're right,
but he's like,
you're
nah,
right.
Magneto. Fucking, I just want to be Magneto. Like,
you're right. You're right. He's the exception to the rule, or he proves it's not really a rule because he's in it and loves it, and he's so much fun in it.
I think that, like, other than Green Lantern and the Fantastic Four, it's just like it's pretty fucking awesome to play a superhero.
Yeah, and I bet if Green Lantern just turned out a little better, Warren Reynolds seemed like he was on board for more Green Lantern. He and Blake Lively were all excited for making the Star Sapphire movie and the Green Lantern versus the Sinestro Corps.
And Ryan Reynolds' finest moment as a human being is at Comic-Con the year before Green Lantern came out. This little kid asks him if he knows the Green Lantern pledge, and he just busts it out in Hall H.
Stands up and does the pledge. That was
when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, Green Lantern's going to be the best comic. Like, he seems really.
How it doesn't make sense how it was so bad with so many talented people involved, the kind of effects, but yeah, it came off like a lazy 90s version of a comic movie where they weren't trying, and it was the first one since arguably Spider-Man 3, but I would say the first one since Batman and Robin that people just weren't trying on. Maybe Iron Man 2, they weren't trying real hard on, but so rare. And it was such a big swing and so much potential, and just to miss so poorly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Green Lantern should be all about the fun shit that you can create with your ring / you're a cop in space. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And even looking back on that, like, Kilowog is still like it. The stuff on Oa was not that bad. It wasn't.
It was the stuff on Earth. It was the Hector Hammond stuff. It was the Parallax. It's terrible version of Parallax stuff. I know that version of Parallax was ripped right from the Brightest or Darkest Night, version, but they just managed to make it so stupid and fugly.
Yeah, I mean, just the if you just I guess if it had come out post Thor, maybe they don't even go to Earth at all. Maybe he just gets he starts off.
I think it came out that same year as Thor.
Oh, it came out.
I think it was that same. Yeah, but I mean, obviously, I think it was done filming and finished before Thor came out, so I don't think it had effect on it. But yeah, I didn't have a chance to learn from it. Is all I was getting at.
So last thing, what other R-rated properties? Like, what would you?
DC has the entire Vertigo line that could and should go R-rated. I see no reason why there shouldn't be a R-rated Batman series somewhere. The only reason is because every Batman movie is going to have a huge audience. But man, I mean, wouldn't it be cool to see a Dark Knight Returns? It would have to be R-rated to really be part of it. To see a Batman movie that was done on HBO, and I keep seeing it. Do you have HBO?
Mm-hmm.
If you go on HBO Go or even just watch their channels, they have a lot of the DC animated movies on there. They've got Batman Year One, Dark Knight Returns, the one based on Public Enemies, and the one based on Supergirl by Michael Turner. Like, they've got all these properties on HBO, and that's what they need to do. Is they need to put. I mean, Batman would be perfect, but he's probably too big. But they got to put something on there. I'd love to see Plastic Man. Plastic Man could be R-rated. It'd be a zany comedy version. I mean, either you got to make him for kids or make him R-rated, or else he's stupid. Because he can't be. Sorry,
I think you're right on the money with Plastic Man, but the way they Lobo.
Yeah, Lobo. Right, that's perfect. Yeah, Lobo. Good call.
Lobo would be Guardians of the Galaxy meets Deadpool. Like
Yeah.
it's Deadpool. It's Deadpool in space. Like you have.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be dealing with. You just open that whole candy box of or toy box of like just random space DC characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lobo would be my thing for DC, and for Marvel.
Moon Knight.
That's where I was thinking Moon Knight, or I mean, this was right in your wheelhouse. There was a time where Venom was like the most popular fucking character in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, that was in my comic reading prime, man, when I was like 10 or 11 or something. He had like just miniseries after miniseries because they just made so much money off of every #1 issue from the miniseries and stuff. He was, yeah, you're right. Around the time of Amazing Spider-Man 375, which was a gold-covered comic with Spider-Man and Venom when he was being drawn by Mark Bagley at his very, very best, in my opinion, which he continued when he took over the Ultimate Spider-Man run. Because the two best Spider-Mans ever are Amazing Spider-Man in the early 90s and Ultimate Spider-Man in the late 90s, early 1000s.
Yeah. So I Venom would be my choice.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. I have to go. I have to go pick up Crystal from work. So thank you for listening. Comic Books on TV. We love Deadpool. I give it a 10 as well. I do think the Colossus thing would be a problem if you went to a different kind of movie, but it was great watching this movie. I had no problem with it. I thought it was awesome. Peace out, dude.
Yeah, peace, man. We'll do something tomorrow. I may have a paper, but either tomorrow or the next day. So,
okay, sounds good. Bye, guys.